ahead.
Governor Moore, you were in Brooklyn yesterday, where there was a mass shooting involving teenagers. Now this incident in Salisbury, again, involving teenagers. What more can your office or should the state be doing for this issue of gun violence that's affecting young people?
A lot more. And it needs to come from all of us. It's got to come from our partnership with our federal partners and our local partners. It means with our community organizations. It means with families and communities. We all have to do more. Because this is not sustainable, it is unacceptable, and it's infuriating. We should not be spending our time dealing with these kinds of issues that we as a state have been dealing with for far too long. We have not come up with the right kind of solutions for it. And so the answer is that I know we've done a lot when it comes to thus far, and I know we've moved aggressively when it comes to doing things like how are we addressing the issue of guns and violence in our society, but I know we're not done. And I want the people of Maryland to know we're not done on this. There's a whole lot more that we can be doing, and that us in partnership with all of the other jurisdictions and all of the other local elected officials and all of our federal partners can be doing more, and we're going to.
What are those things that the state can be doing?
No, I think the state can not only focus on how are we getting these illegal guns out of our streets, and we need to make sure that people are accountable for it as well. But when you're looking at the illegal guns that are being used inside of our communities, I mean, these are guns that are being brought to our communities. They're being brought to the state of Maryland. And so we've got to do a better job of getting these guns, keeping them out of our communities in the first place, and making sure that people who are bringing them in and people who are using them, that they are held accountable for that. That is not going to be acceptable and is not going to be tolerated. And it means we're going to work with other local jurisdictions and other regional partners to be able to make sure that we're curtailing that. It means that people who are violent offenders, that we have to get and keep them out of our neighborhoods and off of our streets. And it means we got to actually build up our communities, build up resources and opportunities for people. Because oftentimes the things that you see when you're looking at these crimes, at this level of violence that we're seeing, oftentimes they're in neighborhoods and communities that have been neglected historically. And so there's things that we can do to both build up neighborhoods, build up communities, support our children, and also make sure we're dealing with this issue of gun violence by keeping these illegal guns out of our neighborhoods, making sure people are accountable who are using them inside of our neighborhoods and communities, and actually dealing with violence as the whole, as the larger problem and the larger disease that it is in our society.
And how infuriating is it to know that the Salisbury situation deals with yet another juvenile that way?
Yeah, I mean, it once again shows that we continue seeing the same trends. We continue seeing the same trend lines. And we've got a challenge with our children right now. And that's the reason that we've got to be so aggressive on this. I think about the fact that as we were coming up, and when there were conflicts and there were fights and there were beefs, but then oftentimes people dealt with it with their hands. That's not the case anymore. Now we've got a situation where you have people that are armed and do not have not just a sensibility for conflict resolution, but oftentimes when dealing with children, they don't have brains that are fully developed that are dealing with this issue. And so we have this challenge of crime and violence and gun violence, particularly when it deals with our children. So it's infuriating because we've seen how the grounds have changed. The nature of this fight has changed. And so therefore the way we deal with it, the way we come up with ways of dealing it on the front end, and the way we deal with it on the back end have got to also evolve. And it means that our partnership has got to get stronger. This has been a challenge that our state has been wrestling with for far too long and came up with far too few solutions. And that is not going to be the case within our administration, and it's not going to be the case in this time.
Okay,
Can you tell us what the conversation was with the county executive? Did you get any more details about what happened out there?
No, the conversation with the county executive really shared the details that we knew, that we had another mass shooting. This time in the Eastern Shore, and where we have 7 people shot and 1 person who has died, and that person is 14 years old. Those are the details that we know thus far. I know the county executive, and I spoke with both the county executive, I also spoke with Mayor Heath this morning, and we are working in collaboration that they know, just as we saw in the situation with Brooklyn, immediately after we found out early in the morning on Saturday that all the full resources and supports of the state was going to be there. We've assured the same thing to the county executive and to the mayor, and we're going to work in partnership to make sure that we deliver both justice in this case and peace for the community.
And we didn't get you yesterday. Did you? Could you just talk briefly about what you saw in Brooklyn And after talking to people, your reaction, and also after going to shock trauma, how things, your just thoughts after that?
I saw a resilient community. I saw a community that's also very much in pain. I saw parents who were sitting with their children as their children are dealing with the kind of pain and the kind of injuries that you wouldn't wish upon anybody. I saw young people who, even when they're physically healed, we know that that's not the only healing they're going to need. That this healing is something that they are going to need long after they leave shock trauma. I saw the people at shock trauma who are literally our angels on earth, who are bringing people back and keeping people here, who frankly, if it were not for their hands and for God's grace, they wouldn't be here. And so what I saw was the consequences of the worsts of our community being dealt with by the best of our community. The people who are just refusing to give up, and the people who are refusing to give in, and the people who are just choosing in this moment to work together and fight back.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me